Well, we're up to secret number 4 in our Tips of the Barista series. Our purpose for these videos is to let people know how we professionals go about doing things in the coffee industry, and in turn we educate our customers so that they can get the very best out of their coffee at home. Today, let's talk about the perfect shot. It's every coffee geek's holy grail. If you've followed the tips in the first 3 steps correctly, then the perfect shot is not far away at all. As I've said before, and I say it all the time, espresso at its heart, it's very simple. It's a combination of great coffee, ground and tamped correctly, extracted at the right pressure and at the right temperature over the correct length of time. In this equation, you'll not usually get a choice of temperature and pressure on your normal home coffee machine, although with a commercial machine you may have a degree of variability over these things. Now, for the record, to achieve the best results, your pump should be extracting at 9 bars of pressure, and I like to have the head brewing temperature to be set as low as 90 degrees. Your volume for a single shot of espresso should be around 30 to 35 mils. Now, some people will say more, and that's probably okay, but it's so easy to get an over-extracted espresso by pushing for more volume. And I've found that 30 to 35 mils works great because you've got a more concentrated espresso shot in your cup. Extraction time should be between 26 and 28 seconds for a single shot. Now, I'll talk through the theory first. First of all, when we're making espresso, we place coffee in our handles and we tamp and we lock it into our machines. And we know about tamping and grinding, we've done all that, so I'm assuming we're up to the point where we can lock a handle into our machine, fire it up, away we go. There should be a delay of 2 or 3 seconds before the first signs of liquid emerge from the spout. Now, this is because it takes time for pressure to build up before extraction can take place. The first part of the pour should be very slow, and the espresso should look like rich coffee nectar. After about 10 seconds or so, the pour should be running more freely, but it still should have that nectar-like appearance. A sign of a great shot of coffee is the shot holding together all the way to the cup. And what I mean by that is, imagine if you were dripping honey or you're pouring honey. It would hold together all the way down to the cup. It wouldn't be broken up into little bits and pieces. So, while the coffee is extracting well, this is what happens. The sign that the extraction is almost complete is a thing that we call the first bubble. Imagine your shot is pouring beautifully, it's all holding together beautifully, and then suddenly a bubble appears and it messes everything up. At this point, you're almost done. If you keep on extracting, the shot becomes full of these bubbles and you're now about to over-extract if you keep on going. So if you get to the point where you can see a white stain on the top of your beautiful brown shot of espresso, you've gone way too far. That is a telltale sign of over-extracted, burnt coffee, and it'll be quite bitter, especially that white part will be bitter. Give this coffee to your friend and make yourself a decent one. Now, if the stars are all aligned and you've done everything correctly and you've looked at the other tips, you should have a situation where after 26 to 28 seconds of extraction you have 30 to 35 mils of beautifully extracted espresso. That first bubble that we talked about should have happened 5 or 6 seconds before the end of the pour. If things don't go to plan, it would have normally been because of one of 2 things. The extraction was either too long or too short. Too long, too short, what to do? We've spoken about this before in the grind and tamping, but I'll go over things again. You have to have your head around grinding and tamping for this all to make sense, so refer back to the other tips if necessary. But briefly, if your shot took too long, you simply have to make it easier for the water to get through the coffee to speed things up. The opposite applies to slow things down. If you've tamped too hard, it'll slow things down. If you're happy with your tamping, then all you have to do is adjust your grind to make it finer or coarser to get the required result. And again, like I said before, think of your coffee grounds like sugar crystals. If the sugar crystals are big, then it makes it easy for the water to make its way through. If your sugar crystals are small, then it will slow things down. This is what we do to achieve your 26 to 28 second shot time. That's it, you're done. All you have to do now is practice. We might have a look at a practical demonstration on how this actually looks when we do it on a coffee machine. Okay, so let's do a practical demonstration on how a decent shot of coffee should look. First thing we do, before we attach the grip handle, is run some water through the grip head. This will clear away any old coffee grounds. You don't want that. That can create a bitter taste. It also gets the water coming through the head at the correct temperature. So we'll attach the handle. Let's see if it all works. We're looking for between 30 and 40 mils in 26 to 28 seconds. Let's go now. See, it took a little while for the coffee to come out. Now it's running quite slow. That's okay, it will thicken up in a minute. Now it's starting to thicken up. You can see it looks like nectar. We're up to 10 seconds now. Now we're 15. Now we're 20. Now we're 25, 26, 27, 28. You notice towards the end of the shot the coffee wasn't running quite as smoothly. I don't remember seeing the first bubble, but it definitely wasn't running as smoothly as it did mid-shot. But there's your 30 ml and it took 28 seconds. That is a good shot of coffee. Here's the bottom line. If you can get your shots of espresso to be 80% crema by the end of the pour, and it took 26 to 28 seconds for 30 to 35 mils, then you are 95% there, and your coffee will taste great. For the other 5%, join a Coffee Geek forum and find out for yourself, because these guys can take you there and they can write a book on it. But make sure you've got plenty of spare time. 95% is good enough for me. Follow the instructions, practice, and you will reap the rewards. That's our tip for the perfect shot. Look out for more tips heading your way real soon. Remember, I'm Rob, your coffee shop coach, and fresh coffee is good coffee.